In this video, I'm going to be reviewing my AquaTRue Reverse Osmosis Water Purifier. It's the classic countertop model. I'll be comparing it to gravity water filtration systems throughout the video, and then I'll conclude by showing you how my wife and I use it on a daily basis. In addition to the price of a water filtration system, it's very important to know what the cost of a replacement filter is, no matter what system you buy, how long the filter will last, how to know when to change it, and if it's NSF certified. So for the first part of my video, I'm going to talk about those 4 points as it relates to the AquaTRue and one particular gravity filter I found. There are many different types of gravity water filtration elements on the market, different science involved to filter water, but I chose to discuss this particular one, which will remain unnamed, because it seemed to be very, very cost effective at first, and later not so cost effective. This particular manufacturer claims that their filter will last 6,000 gallons, depending on the condition of the water. And if you run 2 of their filters at the same time in a canister or gravity system, sort of like a Berkey, you should be able to get 12,000 gallons out of that before having to change the filters. Now, the price of a pair of filters from this manufacturer is a little over $160 at the point of this video. $160 for 12,000 gallons? I mean, that is very cost effective. But you have to ask, will that filter reduce all of the contaminants the manufacturer claims it will for what the manufacturer claims is the lifespan of that filter? And the answer is no, absolutely not, no way. The reason for that is because different contaminants stop filtering at different points in the lifespan of a filter. And in the case of this filter, chlorine is the last contaminant being filtered, and they chose to use that as the lifespan. They disclose that on their website, but a lot of people don't know what to make of that, so I'm going to help you out with that. Now, if this filter was NSF certified 53, which has to do with health-related contaminants, so the reduction of harmful contaminants, which to me is the most important standard, NSF standard out there, and it is not certified to that, but if it was, that lifespan would be based on when the first contaminant stops filtering, not the last. So I went to the website, found their lab report, and I'm not an expert on this, but it appeared to me that the first contaminant stopped filtering at about 200 gallons, then another one at 250, and another one, on and on. So if you use their theory of 2 filters, that would be 400 gallons. That's when if I had the filters, that's when I would replace them. So let's see, 400 versus 12,000, just a little bit of a difference there. So it's not as cost effective as I thought. In addition to that, if I were to continue drinking the water beyond 400 gallons, in my opinion, I'd be exposed to new contaminants as time went on. Now, if you're thinking about buying a gravity water filter, please watch my video I made on this in the link above. I did research for 3 months on this. I talked to NSF about this. There are a lot of things I think you need to know before you buy one. So please take a look at that video. Now, the AquaTRue has 3 filters, but it's a 4-stage filtration process. The first filter has 2 stages. It is a pre-carbon filter that should last up to 6 months or 600 gallons, whichever comes first. And right now, the price is $24.95 for that at AquaTRue. I'll put links under the description for that and also to Amazon. It removes sand, silt, sediment, and rust particles from water and eliminates chlorine taste and odors. The second filter is stage 3. This is the reverse osmosis filter. It should last up to 2 years or 1,200 gallons, whichever comes first. The price is $51.95 for that replacement filter. It reduces impurities from the water down to 0.0001 microns. The third filter is stage 4. It's the VOC carbon filter. This should last up to 1 year or 600 gallons, whichever comes first, and the price is $34.95. So you're probably wondering, well, how do you know when to replace these? The front display will notify you when a filter needs replaced by illuminating the change filter light and the filter that needs changing. Now, with a gravity filter, it doesn't quite work like that. I had one for over 10 years, and it's pretty much an educated guess on when to change that filter. If it starts to slow down, that's when I'd clean it. I never realized that. I felt like that as long as water is going through that filter, then it's doing its job. That's not the case. Remember that all contaminants, different contaminants, stop filtering at different points. So it's important you change that filter when you're supposed to. So to me, it's not it's very an unreliable way to determine when to change that filter, whether it slows down or you're kind of guessing how many gallons you put in it. So that's why I like the AquaTRue. It tells me exactly when I need to change those filters. Now, you may have heard that reverse osmosis filters waste water. Well, they don't really waste water. They use water to clean water. Like you use water to clean your teeth or take a shower or wash your clothes, and then you discard the water. It just goes down the drain. Same thing with the AquaTru. It uses water to clean the water, and the water that was used gets the contaminants in it, and then you discard that. So it's really not an issue. Now, the efficiency of a reverse osmosis system is important. There are some systems you can put under the sink that are not as efficient as others, and you need to look into that if you're going to get a bigger type of system. The AquaTru, on the other hand, is very, very efficient. The manufacturer says that for every gallon of tap water you put in, you get 3/4 of a gallon of purified water. And that's pretty much what we've been seeing with ours. So it's not an issue for us, and we don't feel like we're wasting water. Some people claim they prefer a gravity filter because it allows minerals through, whereas a reverse osmosis system removes minerals. The reason a gravity filter allows minerals through is because the pores are too big to remove them for the most part. There might be exceptions to this, different science, but you're talking about dissolved minerals, which are smaller than viruses. The reason the AquaTru removes them is because the water is being forced through a semi-permeable membrane that has a pore size of 0.0001 microns. It not only removes minerals, but just about everything else. So if the cost of removing all the garbage out of the water is also removing minerals, I'm all for that. You know, you get most of your minerals from your food, but if you want to add them back, you can. Some people use dissolved Himalayan salt, but AquaTru makes a filter, the VOC filter I talked about earlier, which has minerals in it to add back in. I use mineral drops mainly because I want to supplement my magnesium. So I know exactly what I'm getting with my AquaTru, purified water, and I know what I'm getting with my minerals. Now, with a gravity system, it's not that easy. Most people don't have a clue what minerals are in their tap water. And by the time you put that in the filter and filter it, now this is my opinion, no science that I know of is talking about this, but I suspect it's possible that it could be reducing some of those minerals. But the point I'm making is you really don't know, but I do know with the AquaTru that it's removing the minerals, and I can add them back and know exactly what I'm getting. Now, I think the main reason people like a gravity filter is because it doesn't require power. Some have told me they can take it camping, to day trips, use it in an emergency situation. I can do the same thing with my AquaTru. I can take it camping and use my little $16 inverter and run it off my DC outlet in my car if I wanted to. But I wouldn't do that, just like I wouldn't put lake, river, creek water in one of those gravity water filtration canisters and drink it directly from the unit after being filtered without boiling it and letting it cool first. Now, one of the reasons for this is because of a cyst called cryptosporidium. The CDC says cryptosporidium makes over 800,000 people sick per year in America. And this cyst is in many waterways, especially surface water, I've read. So I went ahead and I looked at my water report, annual water report, and you probably should too. And I looked at the districts all over the area, and most of them in my area have a disclaimer about this cyst. It says the cryptosporidium on the top or on the bottom of the report. It says basically if you're immunocompromised or you're on radiation or chemo or in other situations, that drinking your tap water, your treated tap water, could be life-threatening. And that's because the cyst has a very thick membrane, and it makes it difficult for disinfectants, including chlorine, to penetrate it and kill it. So it is possible to have cryptosporidium in your tap water. Now, if a water filter company claims that their filter will reduce those cysts and they're NSF certified, they must disclose that that statement's based on disinfected water, not river water. And so basically the units are for your tap water, not river, lake, or creek water. Now, so I would just drink bottled water. In an emergency situation, I've been asked, would you drink water from one of these if I couldn't boil it? And I said, sure, of course I would in an emergency. I've read reports on these. If they're sealed well, the filters, and they're fairly new, I wouldn't have too much of a problem. I see that they remove a lot of the garbage I don't want to drink. I get that. But I have much more faith in an NSF certified water filter. That means a lot more to me. So yeah, I would in an emergency, but I prefer an NSF certified filter. Now, speaking of NSF certification, the AquaTru is NSF certified to standard 42, 53, 401, 58, and P473 to reduce 83 contaminants, including fluoride, arsenic, and chlorine, and on and on and on. Now, they're not just tested to or verified to, they are certified to NSF standards, which is a big difference. I looked at many different RO systems on the market, and many of these are not certified. They're tested to, and it's tricky language. You've got to be careful with that. Good luck finding a gravity filter that is at least NSF certified standard 53. That has to do with health-related contaminants, so for harmful contaminant reduction. I found 1 out of 9. Now, there was another one that was certified 53, but it was only for 2 contaminants under that standard. It's not enough for my satisfaction. So there's only 1 filter. If you know of other filters that are certified, you'll see them for 42, 372, but for 53, let me know and I'll put it under the description. We wanted to keep the AquaTRue against the wall under the cabinets, so we bought the AquaTRue sliding tray. You just place a unit on top and it slides really well. Now we can easily access the tap water tank. To start the filtration process, we remove both the tap water tank and the filtered water tank. Just be sure both tanks are empty. Fill the tap water tank with tap water up to about right here. Then we place it back on the AquaTRue. Since the AquaTRue is always plugged in, when we place the filtered water tank back on, the unit will immediately start filtering water. The water will be pumped from the tap water tank through the 3 filters I talked about earlier, and the purified water will end up in the filtered water tank. For us, it takes around 15 minutes or so. We purchased 2 filtered water tanks. My wife prefers her water to be cooler, so she places hers in the refrigerator after filtering the water and drinks it throughout the day or puts it in a thermos if she plans to leave the house. Now be sure to throw away the water that was used to clean the water because that will have all the contaminants in it. For me, I prefer my water at room temperature, so I just leave it on the AquaTRue and roll it out when I want some water and I'm good to go. Be sure to clean the tap water tank at least once a week. We didn't do that like we should have. It can be very difficult to clean. We plan to buy another tank, but I wanted you to see what it looks like when it's not cleaned properly. So I've been asked, what do we use in a power outage? Well, we use bottled water, which is part of our emergency water storage. We could use our little portable power station here. It'll run on probably the smallest inverter battery setup you can find if it provides 120 volts. The AquaTRue only uses up to 27, 28 watts when it's purifying the water a lot of the time. Sometimes, like right now, it's using even less. In fact, when we do all the math, it turns out that this battery will provide, when it's full, 2 weeks of drinking water for my wife and me without even having to charge it up. Now, I don't receive any incentives from any manufacturer for anything I've talked about in this video, but I do have links in the description so you can check out the current price. If you like this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. You all have a great day, and again, thanks for watching.